Adam Lerner, BrooklynPhotoWorks.com, and today we have another Squarespace portfolio website review. And this is an actual Squarespace website, and I had a lot of fun looking at it. And what's really cool is that this was submitted by a female subscriber, and we don't have enough female subscribers submitting their work. So I'm really happy that Christy sent her work over here, and I'm really looking forward to looking at her website and sharing my thoughts about her work, about how she could improve her website and maybe take it to the next level. Now understand, this is just my opinion, and my objective here is to try to provide information that will only help to elevate your presence online, your how you portray your work, and to basically develop a better flow for your website, things of that sort of nature. So without further ado, let's go in and take a look at Christy's website. Okay, so here we go, photographed by Christy Gevers. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. Very simple front page and a really, really nice, compelling image here. We've got that beautiful golden light, and it really puts you in a very nice kind of a mindset. Enter. Okie doke. All right, so here we go. Photography by Christy. And we've got a nice, almost full page view of the imagery. And a very cool kind of fashion-forward image on the first page here. And I guess we are in the fashion. So Christy has decided to have us land in the fashion gallery over here. So I'm going to start just by going to thumbnails, and then I'm going to go back in here and just see what we have. Okay, so we've got some very large thumbnails in here, which is an interesting way of going about doing the thumbnails. I kind of like when the thumbnails are small, so that way you can kind of select, excuse me, you can select, how, you don't have to look at the images full. So if you want to look at them full, you look at them full. If you want to look at them closer, then you click on them and you look at them closer. But just overall, I'm seeing what appears to be a nice gallery of fashion images, and maybe just a couple of different subjects. All right, so let's go back to this landing image here, and just a quick take on this image here. I'm finding that there's a few things that are bothering me about it. Number one, it's super wide angle, and we got a lot of action going on over here. I would have liked to have seen this area cropped here, because we're going from a dark area to a light area. I understand, that the two gals were lit over here. I kind of, there's the reflection of this gal over here. I mean, there's a reason for this. Obviously, you don't want your flash to be flashing in a reflective surface. We've got some unsightly power lines. Like, I just kind of almost feel that if we could just kind of crop this down, if we shot this a little bit differently, and I feel like it's a little bit flat. Like, I feel like the tones are a little bit flat. I don't want to harp too much on it, but as a landing image, I don't know if that's the strongest image. Now let's just kind of look through some of these. We'll go to this one. This is nice. This pretty gal leaning on a post. I think that, when you've got a model like this, who's obviously very slim, probably tall, wearing high heels, that a lower angle is going to be more flattering, because basically by shooting at her level, you're kind of like compressing her into this space instead of like elongating her into the space. I mean, part of the reason maybe just to get more of the contrast of the darkness back here on the ground, but I just feel like I would have liked to have seen this one shot at a lower angle. And let's see over here. Yeah, it's kind of like weird cropping. I don't really need to see this half of the frame. There's really nothing compelling about it. And I would have liked to have seen her face lit a little bit nicer. There's nice light on her hair, so maybe if she just flipped her hair over to the other side, that wouldn't have been such a big thing. Yeah, I mean, look, it's kind of a weird, kind of contrived pose. I don't think this post is centered, and I think if you're going to put two models kind of leaning up on a post, you kind of want that architectural detail that's going to be in the center of your frame to be centered. The other thing that I'm finding too is that I don't find this background that exciting. And I honestly feel that, you know, maybe if you just rotated around and found like something a little bit cleaner and or shot at a much, much wider aperture so that you could have compressed this background and blurred it out. Yep, here we go. We've got this gal again. And the pose is okay. The face is a little bit flat. You know, again, I don't understand why we have all this negative space on the left here. It doesn't make sense unless you're specifically shooting for a catalog where they say, you know, we need some space over there. Yeah, okay, so we'll just kind of keep going through these. You know, again, you know, with the lighting here, there's a nice separation, but I feel like it's a little flat here. We need to get those skin tones to look a little bit nicer and not as muddy. Yep, you know, again, we got a lot of foreground over here. You know, this is an easy cropping fix on an image like this. You know, I like some what's going on. I still think that, you know, again, this is a little contrasty. Like there's something about her skin tones that's not just quite right. So, you know, that's partly in just critique of the processing and the way it was shot. We just need to get like our lighting a little bit more focused on our models over here and give maybe just a little bit more direction as well. I can't tell if these were shot with an umbrella or a bare flash, but you know, the light could be a little softer. Like this one right here, you know, we're shooting at a time of day where we've got the model super lit. We've got the flash, you know, going onto these grasses over here, but she's wearing a black dress against a dark background, and the dress is kind of getting lost on that background, and that's kind of a little bit of a problem. If you're going to be shooting, you know, a black dress on a black background or dark background, you know, that's, unless you're going for something really moody, you know, like for example, like in this dress, we've got you know, more contrast with, you know, the colors in the dress and the background. But again, we've got a lot of weird flashing in the foreground. She's not really centered in the image here. So we can definitely fix that up in post-processing. And overall, you know, it looks like this is a shoot that Christy did with these two gals. And she started late in the day to get that kind of nice light, and as the sun set, you know, it got darker and darker. So here's some thoughts. Okay, I really like what Christy's doing. I think that it's great that she's got access to, you know, some very, very nice looking girls, and maybe there's a fashion designer in there so that she's got access to wardrobe. All of these things are terrific, okay? But what I feel is missing on this is that I don't know if she spent enough time scouting the location to really get a sense of how she could take these really beautiful models and put her against this kind of industrial corporate park background, and find backgrounds that are nice and clean and simple and also provide a nice contrast. So for example, if one of her models is wearing, you know, a blue dress, then maybe not putting her on a background that features a lot of blues and greens, maybe try to get her on a background that's going to allow that dress to pop. And the same thing goes for the black dress. Shooting the black dress against a very dark background, the black dress actually just fades away. Another thing that I'm seeing here too is I feel that a lot of the models, or a lot of the expressions that these models have, they're a little bit flat. And I think that it's very, very difficult when you're taking on a lot of things, when you're taking on a fashion shoot and you're doing it on your own and you're on location. There's a lot of things and a lot of factors, and you're bringing flash into the whole deal. That's a lot of stuff to think about, but you can't let go of the idea that giving your models direction is really important. Creating a mindset, creating a vibe. What I often do, or always pretty much do, is I bring a little Bluetooth speaker, an actual really nice powerful one, and I get some music going, and I get, you know, kind of the mood to lighten up a little bit. And if I see that people are like looking a little bit flat, or maybe if they're feeling a little chilly, you know, I try to get the energy level going a little bit so that some of that can translate. Now I understand that, you know, you don't always want that kind of like really energetic look. But I think for this shoot, if there was a little bit more energy, a little bit more connection, a little bit more kind of attitude or something like that going on, that would have also helped to elevate this shoot to another level. All right, so let's go back and take another look around. All right, so let's see, La Rêve Boutique. Okay, so what this tells me is that these are probably, so she probably shot all these for this boutique. Okay, so now we've got events. So this is a new separate category. And I'm just going to look at the thumbnail view, and pardon my slow internet today. I don't really know what's going on with it. But let's just try that one more time. And here we go. Now look, this could be a combination of two things. This could actually either be that I'm having a slow internet day, which sometimes up here we have slow internet. It's really stormy. And that could potentially be contributing to it. It could also be how the images are being loaded up to the web. Oftentimes people think, oh, I've got to send the highest res images up to my website, and that's not necessarily the case. And what I can do is I can put in the write-up in here, maybe some suggested sizes for exporting your images for your website so that your images load quickly but also look really sharp. All right, so here we go. Yeah, I don't know why this image would be here. There's really nothing going on with it. You know, some captain bartender guy. You got all these bottles of water. You got a camera sitting over here. Some gal just kind of, you know, photobombing in the back. The lighting isn't great. It's just, unfortunately, it's what looks to be a kind of a lousy snapshot. So that, to me, as the first image in your event gallery, that's problematic. Yeah, I don't know why these aren't loading. So yeah, this looks like some kind of a party that you know, that Christy was at, and she was there to photograph it. You know, look, event photography is okay. We're trying to be creative there. Event photography is tough, and let's talk about it. Yeah, I don't know what this one's all about here. This one's out of focus. That's just some hair. You know, lighting's a little bit off on this one here, and they're not really making connection. Couple of bottles of wine. And I don't know, again, this looks completely out of focus, and that's a problem to me. Okay, so here we go. Number one, shooting an event is a very, very difficult thing if you've never done it before. Timing is very important. Oftentimes people at events, they don't necessarily want a camera pushed into their face, or maybe they do. But again, it's about connecting with your subject. So if people are doing something and you want a picture, you have to make the effort, and you have to do it in a very friendly, yet you also have to use some authority as well. So you can say, hey ladies, could you guys, yeah, please get together, yeah, stand right there, perfect, that's great. And then in your mind, you're looking at the background, you're looking at how the light is hitting them, you're hoping that the light is hitting them in a way that they're not squinting because it's too contrasty, or that it's so dark that it's muddled and there's no detail in there. So these are things to take into account. Now, obviously, if you're shooting events, you want to shoot with an on-camera flash and use that as a fill. But in this case, these images don't have a cohesive nature to them. Yes, there is event coverage, but you need to tell a story. Just like any kind of photography event that you're shooting, whether you're shooting a fashion shoot or a portrait shoot or whatever, there's got to be some kind of a story being told there. And to me, these are just kind of like snapshots that were taken at a party, but it does not look like Christy got in there and really embedded herself and gave people direction. And that is one of the hardest things, particularly as a new photographer, being confident enough to be able to give people direction. Because to have that level of confidence to give people direction, you have to be confident in your ability as a photographer, because you do not want to be thinking about how you're going to photograph something and give people direction. So it's a push and pull. There's a little bit of a counterplay over there, but going into shooting an event, knowing like, okay, it's going to be this time of day, here's the gear that I need to be using, whether I need to bring a flash or not. These are the basic camera settings. You know, I know that at an event people are moving around, so maybe I need to shoot at a faster shutter speed to freeze motion. These are different things that you need to think about before you go into it, because if you just go into it, you're going to get images that don't tell that story and look a little bit flat. All right, let's keep going on over here. Scenery. Okay, so scenery, I'm going to guess, is going to be landscapes, because that first shot was a landscape. And here we've got a nice, pretty picture of cows. We've got a beautiful, beautiful time of day. Yeah, you know, look, I don't mind, you know, scenery shots. I don't mind landscape shots. Again, forgive the slow internet over here. But you know what, I'm gonna, while this is loading here, actually, you know, I'm just gonna go over to close up and see if we can get these to load. Yeah, Okay, let's just see if this is a macro shot, which I'm going to guess that it is. Yeah, I mean, look, macro it's a whole thing unto its own. It's a pretty thing. So let's just go to the About Me page. Let's just get right over there. All right. I'm a lifelong resident of the Okanagan Valley and thoroughly appreciate the beauty in me. I gravitate towards photographing landscapes of this beautiful area and love delving into the world of close-up macro photography. I like to find ways of capturing image of people that go beyond just their physical appearance. Fashion photography is of great interest to me, and I'm excited about continuing to develop my own unique style. If you'd like to work with me, use the form below. Okay. That is, again, it's an About Me page that doesn't really exude confidence. Now look, I understand when you're starting out in this business and you don't have a huge roster of clients and you don't have a ton of work under your belt, that feeling entitled to a certain level of, caliber of client is something that you have to work toward, okay? I think that I think what I would recommend to Christy is to try to explore some of the things that she's been doing and take them to another level. So, for example, if shooting for fashion boutiques is something that she wants to do, which it looks like she's got a lot of the basic stuff there, then take that to the next level. Find those 2 girls that you photographed, go back to that boutique and say, look, I want to shoot a ton of stuff for your store, and get into taking these girls to different places, change the vibe up, change the mood up, put them in casual clothing, put them in fancy clothing, whatever it may take. Different times a day, work on your lighting, like just try to get it to a point where there is something about these fashion images that elevate them to a whole new level. And at the same time, working on your photography, so getting your framing organized, getting your backgrounds together, getting your angles together, trying out all these different things until you have some kind of a working formula that you use as a foundation, and then you apply that to the other shoots. Now, as far as the landscape photography and the macro photography and the event photography, those are all different things. Landscape photography and macro photography, that can be considered fine art. And those are things that you can absolutely do, and you can do them in conjunction with doing your paid gigs or your fashion gigs. But you have to decide where you want to be. So if you're going to put in your About Me page that you like to pursue fashion, but you're a landscape photographer, then I don't know what kind of a message that you're trying to give somebody. And as far as the events go, I honestly don't feel that event has a strong enough caliber, next to some of the other things that you've got on your website, that it deserves to have its own category. I mean, that could be something that you could do as a blog post, and just do like smaller images of some event, and you could continue to put yourself out there to do events, but putting in its own category with that one event doesn't really, I don't know, it takes away from some of the other stuff that you're doing. Okay, so there you go, guys. All right. Was that critique harsh? Well, look, the critique was honest, and I'm trying to give the best feedback that I can. And I think that Christy's got tremendous potential and obviously a huge passion for photography. So, again, all these things to think about. Think about your settings. Think about the approach that you're going to take. Think about how you're going to direct the people that you're going to be shooting. Think about the time of day. Think about your framing. There's a million things to think about. But if you can really continue to practice and practice and practice and hone your craft, you will see that over time you will be thinking less about all of those things and more about how you are functioning and how you're performing with your subjects in a photo shoot. So there you go, guys. That's my critique. If any of you guys want to submit your website for a critique, you can send it to BrooklynPhotoWorks@gmail.com. That's it for now, and we'll see you soon.